Call the meeting of the Bloomington City Council to order. Could we please rise for the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Alderman Mathey.
Here.
Alderman Sage.
Here.
Alderman Millawamway.
Here.
Alderman Burgess.
Here.
Alderman Painter.
Here.
Alderman Black.
Here.
Alderman Howman.
Here.
Alderman Bray.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Schmidt.
Here. Before we get started, Mayor Renner is at the U.S. Conference of Mayors, so you've drawn the short straw, you get me tonight, and we're going to muddle through together. The first item on our agenda is recognitions and appointments, and we're very honored to have tonight Destiny Pinnick with us. Destiny, could you come forward, please? Destiny is our USA National Miss Illinois, and I have a proclamation to read to you. Mom, if you want to come up here, you can come all the way behind if you'd like. In recognition of Destiny Pinnick, whereas we're here to celebrate the achievements of Destiny Pinnick, USA National Miss Illinois, and whereas Destiny has distinguished herself not only as an outstanding volunteer, but an outstanding example to the youth of our community, and whereas the City of Bloomington wishes to honor Destiny for her accomplishments, therefore, in witness, I do hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Bloomington to be affixed this 26th day of June, and this is on behalf of Mayor Terry Renner. So thank you very much. And if you'd like to say a few words, maybe talk a little bit about your journey to this, you can go up to the microphone there.
Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for you all. It is truly an honor to be here on today and to be invited to be recognized by the City of Bloomington as USA National Miss Illinois 2017. And I hope and pray that I can represent the whole state, including Bloomington, exceptionally well when I go to nationals next month in Boca Raton, Florida. And so I just want to thank you all one more time for helping me along the way. I actually, I spent the last couple of years in Bloomington, and I went to University High School right across town, and I graduated in 2014, and then I went ahead and went on to U of I, and I have been really making sure that I try to make an impact in my community, whether it be in Springfield, whether it be in Bloomington, whether it be in Chicago, but all around the state, so that when I do go to nationals, I can represent each and every one of you and take all of the values that I have learned in this city and in this state with me. And I want to give a special thank you to my pastors and assistant pastor, Priscilla and Walter Jones, and Bloomington Worship Center for supporting me so much. I want to thank my parents, Cotina Harris and Demetrius Harris, for helping me along the way. They've all given me more support than I could have asked for. So thank you so much.
Well, congratulations. We're very proud of you. That was a special honor. Now we have another special honor. Could I have Chief Hefner and Assistant Chief Kenneth Bays come forward? I may need Alderman Black to help me with the heft of this. I don't think we're quite ready for it yet, but it's heavy. Yeah.
Council, citizens, we're here to recognize Assistant Chief Kim Bays for his successful completion of training at the FBI National Academy. Just to give you some background on this so you understand the importance of this and the level that he has achieved now. On June 7th, 228 law enforcement officers graduated from the FBI National Academy at Quantico, Virginia. The 268th session of the National Academy consisted of men and women in law enforcement from 47 states. Included in the class are members from law enforcement agencies from the District of Columbia, 24 international countries, 5 military organizations, and 7 federal civilian organizations. Internationally known for its academic excellence, the National Academy program held at the FBI Academy offers 10 weeks of advanced communication, leadership, and fitness training for selected officers with proven records as professionals within their agencies. On average, the officers have 21 years of law enforcement experience. FBI Executive Assistant Director Joshua Skule was a principal speaker at the Academy. Training for the Academy is provided by instructional staff from the FBI, special agents, and other staff members who hold advanced degrees, many of whom are recognized internationally in their field of experience. Since 1972, the National Academy has been able to earn undergraduate and graduate credits from the University of Virginia due to the accreditation by the university of many of the courses offered. This has been around since 1935, and there are approximately 50,000 associates now, and we are proud to have him there as it just raises the level of our excellence at the department. So Assistant Chief Bays.
Please come forward. Chief, we're very, very proud of you. Chief Hefner, how many of your officers now have gone through FBI Academy?
5.
5. Wow,
Including
congratulations.
myself. So yes, we're very proud of that, and we have another one hopefully in the hopper. I will tell you that I've been trying to get him through that. It's taken him 3 years to get there. It is not just a process where you are automatically accepted.
Yeah.
They look at your resume, they look at your department, they take things into consideration. You're actually competing against other officers to actually be accepted into the program. So it's a great honor.
I know it was rigorous, so congratulations. We have appointments to boards and commissions to announce. Michael Rudisil to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. Is he here? Oh, thank you. Thank you for your service. Appointment of Jerry Kelleher and Mark Holderby to the Building Board of Appeals. Are they here? Okay. Appointment of Debbie Hanchett to the Citizens Beautification Commission. And appointment of Tara Desmond to the Bloomington Normal Sister City Committee for Japan. Okay. Now I'm delighted to introduce Mike Donnelly, who is going to give us a brief update on the activities of the Boys and Girls Club and the work that he's been doing there with our youth. Mike.
Good evening, everyone. Glad to be back here. Seems like it was just a short time that I was standing in front of you guys, and we were getting things rolling last year. So I'm delighted to be back in front of you to give you an update on kind of what's been happening over the year and where we kind of planning to head in this upcoming year. Just to kind of give you a refresher on where we started at, the ideal behind the program was to reduce juvenile delinquency in the community, connect our youth and families to community resources, especially in times of crisis, and enhance our relationship building between the community and local law enforcement. Some of our strategies there were identify our high-risk youth who pose a danger to themselves, the families, peers, and their community, establish effective communication between young people and their families, and identify opportunities for young people to reach their full potential and take ownership of their community. If you go back, I don't know if you remember seeing this chart, but this was a while back. I know it may be a little bit hard to see on the screen. But when we first started, we really broke our program down into three key areas, which were our primary services. Primary services means things like our open gyms that we have, our tutoring programs. We have a relationship where we take kids out to Game Time Gym for like basketball leagues. We have a relationship with Bloomington Parks and Recs, where every Tuesday and Thursday in the summer, we're able to take our teens out to O'Neill Pool. And so it's just something that gives young people something to do, keeps them busy. So that primary, we had a target there of about 75 to 125 kids. We actually have 186 kids right now registered for our program. The secondary programming is on our Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have what we call a teen club. We have guest speakers that come in. We work with the 100 black men. They come in and do mentoring with our young men. We have a group of ladies that come in and work with our females in our program. They're called Diverse Dedicated Women, and that's a name that came straight from our young people. So they developed that. If you look back a year ago, really, we had a target of maybe 5 to 10 kids that we were thinking about. I'm very pleased to say that out of that 186 kids that we have registered, we have 170 youth that have an 80% attendance at our program on those Tuesdays and Thursday nights. And so I'm extremely proud of that. That's huge because our program is not something that you have to be at. Our young people are choosing to be there, which to me in our community is huge, that we have young people who are wanting to be in our programs. They understand the idea that it's not just fun and games. They know that we have speakers. They understand our program, and so I'm very, very proud of that. Another secondary thing that we talked about a year ago were employment opportunities for our young people. As we all know, there's a little bit of a struggle at times for our young people to find employment. Right now we have 14 young people that we've placed in jobs. We also created a junior staffers program that I'm really proud of. So our junior staffers program we have 5 young people who come to our building every day in the summer. They start off their morning about 9 o'clock going through like a leadership type curriculum, employability skills, really just a chance for us to develop them as young people. And then the rest of their day they spend working with our little kids, so our K through 5. They spend the rest of the day working with them. This is not paid. It's really up to them to be there. They understand the schedule. But I'm really proud of that program, again, because I think that's going to be a huge opportunity for us in the future to develop some young people and actually get them ready for employment situations. We always get opportunities where young people are wanting to work or employers are looking for young people, but getting them actually employable and ready to be out there in the workforce is something that we're going to really focus on in the future. And so that junior staff program is a huge part of that. The intervention, that was kind of our last tier of our program, and so that's where we're getting our working really with the police department. Chief Brennan, he's calling me or letting me know, hey Mike, I got a young person on my radar, can you go out, meet with the families? This year we got about 7 of those young people that came our direction that we were able to actually keep in services. While I'm very proud of our program, I can tell you that we don't have the fix-all. You know, I mean, we still have challenges with our young people in the community, but I think that this is a great start to really being able to sustain some programming for our young people, especially those that need us the most right now. Strategies for 2017, 2018. So one of the things that we identified and that I identified really early on was that with our males, we had a lot of male staff. We had some female staff, but we had a lot of the male staff, and I was watching how those relationships were being built with our males, mainly through one-on-one conversations, through the basketball, coaching, that sort of deal. While we have some young ladies that play basketball, you throw them a basketball, they throw it back at you. You know what I mean? So they're not really not all of them anyway are sports-minded in that sense. And so, and the other thing that I know is that our young ladies, at times, they have things that they're going through that they may not want to share with me. They may have a great relationship with me, but honestly, being able to have someone that looks like them that understands kind of what they're talking about. That's of utmost importance to us and to those young ladies. And so being able to hire a female youth interventionist that's going to be doing a lot of the work that I do in regards to the one-on-one meetings, being there for programming, that's going to be essential to how we move forward. You see case management, that's going to be something that we're really pushing. While we have the young people come in, I want to be able to, a young person that I meet when they're in 7th grade, I want to be able to show through documentation where they're at when they're in 12th grade, and kind of the work that we've done. So really putting a more focus on the case manager is going to be important. Those core competencies, the way that we've kind of designed our program moving forward is that each month we're going to have a theme that we're going to have the young people work towards. So it could be diversity, could be community service, could be healthy lifestyles. One of those types of themes that our guest speakers and anybody who comes in moving forward, they'll know exactly what we're trying to do with those young folks for that particular month. Getting back out more to the school, so we have more school level outreach is something that we're going to be moving towards. I'm going to introduce our new CEO, which is Tony Morstatter. That's right here. He's been a great addition to the Boys and Girls Club. He and I are constantly in conversation about how do we sustain and build great programming for our young people. I've seen him work with the young people. He's not that CEO that's sitting in his office. He gets out there. If you can imagine 60 young people kind of around your ankles, that's how I see him in the morning time a lot of times. So, Tony, thanks for all you've done and the support that you give us. But he and I have talked a lot about how we get our parents more involved in our programming, and so that's going to be a focus that we're going to push moving forward. And then lastly, just those employment opportunities and really getting our young people ready to be out there in the work world. I added some pictures here on the end. So this is one of our mentoring sessions. So if you see our young people, this is kind of how I wouldn't say they start their day like this. Usually, typically when they come in, we do tutoring. So they have a time where they're doing homework. But then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they know that there's a point where everything gets put up and you're in one of these sessions. This is some of the kids out there at O'Neill Pool having a blast. We're big on exposure, so we took some of our young men over to Caterpillar, to the museum that they have over there, really just trying to introduce that factory, that industry to those young people and letting them know the kind of opportunities that are available to them out there. Lastly, this group right here these are our seniors. So all these young people graduated this year. So we started taking them. We're at Six Flags right now. So these are our seniors who graduated from around the community, and we took them out on a senior trip through the Boys and Girls Club. These again are some of our young ladies that if you recognize. That's Dodie Dunson Jr. right there. He's an assistant coach at SIUE, and he invited some of our girls down for a basketball camp. And so it's all about exposure and trying to get them out of kind of their element. And then lastly, this is Desi Adams. Desi was our Boys and Girls Club Illinois Youth of the Year. She was in a competition. She got 3rd place. Represented the organization really, really well. So I know I'm at time and don't want to keep you guys longer than what I'm supposed to. But just want to say to the city, to the council, that we truly appreciate everything that you guys have done to continue to support us, continue to support our young people, and we're going to do our part to make sure that we reach our young people and kind of keep them flowing along this track.
Thank you. I've watched you in action. I've watched you in action too, Mr. Morstatter, and it's very, very impressive work that you're doing, and thank you. And also thank you to Chief Hefner for your support of this and the work you put into it. Anybody have questions? Or? Oh, this is awesome. Thank you very much. Now we move to public comment. I have a number of cards here from individuals who had submitted their cards at our last meeting and we weren't able to get to them. So we'll take them first in order, and if they're not here, of course, we'll continue to move on. I'm going to read the first three: Alton Franklin, Jan Meadows, and Kendra Bowl. Are they here? Are any of you here? Okay. It looks like Michelle Werner, possibly, Gary Lambert, and Aaron Lawn. Okay. We have cards in from today, and again, I'll read three names. If you come forward: Donna Bolin, Renee Nessler, and Scott Steimling.
Hi, I'm Donna Bolin. I live in Ward 2, and I'm going to be talking about the bike lanes on Washington. I couldn't make it to the Planning Commission meeting. I basically represent the 11,000 motorists that use the road to get downtown and around town. And I don't feel that there was a outreach to those motorists, because basically it's a bike community issue. The bicycle ordinance that we have on the books says that every person riding a bicycle upon the roadway shall be granted the rights and shall be subject to all the duties applicable to a driver. And the complete streets says vehicular, public transportation, bicycle, and pedestrian modes are integral to the transportation system. Complete streets does not require that all modes be present on any given street at the same time, meaning bus, cars, bikes, and pedestrian. Okay. The bike master plan, it seems that, again, the bicycle community is very familiar with that, but not the community at large. The steering committee had 2 aldermen, the mayor, Public Works, Engineering, and 3 bike group members. And on page 2 of the plan, it says that it is very important for the public to understand what is being presented. And on page 27, it says that Washington is one of the busiest streets, and the plan recommends not using busy streets if at all possible. There are listed several E's, and one of them is education, and that goes back to my point that I don't think the community is really educated, and I feel that confusion is counter to safety. So I think that it's really important to have the community educated. And on page 40, it says that the goal is to get an official award for bicycle-friendly community, which probably is an important thing for economic development. I also believe that observation of only 4 days really is not statistically significant to give a serious opinion about how the bike lanes would work. There really is no universal support by the 18 members that from the Homeowners Association. 22 members or homeowners from Washington were opposed, and there was really no universal support at the Washington School Open House, which I attended.
You'll need to wrap up now.
Okay. My major concern was the packet that was given to the Planning Commission. It included the resolution, and it was dated July 10th as having been passed. And I find that to be a lack of integrity if that's the way things are worked, where resolutions are sent to unelected boards and with the date that indicates that it's passed.
Okay, thank you. Renee Nessler, Scott Steimling, and then Bruce Meeks.
Good evening. I'm Renee Nessler, staff representative for AFSCME Local 699 Public Works and Parks. Tonight I'm here with some of our members. Often we hear public or city administrators speak highly of the work our members do, and their efforts are appreciated. They're called upon to work in the hottest heat and in the coldest cold to provide services to the community, whether it is picking up garbage and recycling, filling potholes, mowing the golf courses, feeding animals at the zoo, or plowing snow. However, while administrators often speak good words about our members and the work that they do, the treatment many of our members experience is not that of a respected worker. Morale has been low for quite some time in public works. Unfortunately, when we think morale couldn't sink any lower, administration finds something to take it to an all-new low. One issue that's particularly bothersome to us is how the department spends money. City Council often discusses public constraints and concerns. In 2015, the city decided to move to every other week bulk pickup due to needing to cut costs. This resulted in the elimination of 5 positions in Public Works. However, it's frustrating to our members to see a new operations manager position posted and filled at a 6-figure salary and benefit package 18 months later. At the same time, our members see the work that they are capable of doing and have done in the past being outsourced, such as some sidewalk repair and pavement slabs like those recently replaced on Eastland by a private company. This work is outsourced because with the reduction of the positions over the years, there are not enough employees to do the work. We find it hard to believe that it's cheaper for a private company to do the work than your own city employees. Other unnecessary expenses include the once temporary, now permanent shed behind the Public Works building that costs over twice as much as originally projected, and also the renting of equipment that is used regularly but without shopping around for the best deal or decide to purchase instead. Another issue is working conditions. It has been a past practice for the city not to order trucks with air conditioning. When air conditioning became standard in vehicles, the city would pay to have the AC removed. Currently, very few of the trucks have air conditioning, and no, they are not rotated amongst employees. In addition, the water in the Public Works building is not advisable to drink, resulting in only safe water on site being in the vending machine. Also, replacing bench seats in some of the trucks with air ride seats to prevent injuries from rough rides have been brought up to management with little response or action. This is no way to treat these hardworking, dedicated employees, 25% of them having worked 20 years or more for the city. There are a number of practices that have been in existence for years, and in some cases decades, that have developed and built the workforce that exists today. Those are currently at risk as well. Further, because of the changes made unilaterally by your administration, there are contract violations that have occurred, and we have filed unfair labor practice charges with the Illinois Labor Relations Board. The list of grievances is long, but administration has made it perfectly clear they are not interested in hearing them. The City of Bloomington new handbook includes a teamwork policy that reads, the city expects that all employees will make a concerted effort to ensure a harmonious work environment that promotes a teamwork mentality. We do not believe that's what's happening here or meets the city's expectations. Too often our members are held accountable and the rules are made up.
Wind up now. Thank you.
The rules are made up after the fact and are held to a higher standard than management. This is not fair or how it should be. All this boils down to bad management, and our members are tired of it. These items have created a lack of trust in management and low morale. Our members are frustrated and offended. I encourage you for you to ensure and respect the fairness, make sure they get the fairness and respect they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. For general information, we don't respond to public comment. Scott Steimling, Bruce Meeks, and then Barbara Finley-Stewart.
I'm Scott Steimling. My concern is with Mr. Garcia that there seems to be a double set of standards. He's when someone is convicted and done their time, that's fine, but that record's going to follow them around for the rest of their life. Nobody forced him, to commit the crime. To the streets, Grove Street was absolutely terrible, and it still is. I realize that it's been something that's been put on the back burner for years, but we always find money to do everything else, but we don't find the money to fix our streets. And when you come into Bloomington, it should say, welcome to Bloomington, home of the potholes, because the roads in this town are absolutely pathetic. Regarding the bike lanes, since when do bicyclists have the right to drive on a street? They don't have to be licensed. They don't have to be insured. It's cutting that street down. And I know there are people probably that don't agree with it. The fireworks. The money that's spent on the fireworks every cotton picking year, that could go right into the streets. But I know that there are some people that say, well, Normal has theirs, Bloomington needs theirs. Thank you.
Thank you. Bruce Meeks and then Barbara Finley Stewart.
Good evening, Council. Based upon the decorum we have to have here with public comment, Diana Hallman, in good faith, tried to interrupt me at a situation like this. I asked her to stop. I apologize, Diana. You were right. It was talking about the Ovation Cinemas. I totally misunderstood what was on the agenda. I thought it was a change in license to expand the liquor from beer and wine to much more than that. So I wanted to publicly apologize to Ovation Theaters and to Diane Holman for misunderstanding the situation. But that brings me to another point that I've always asked, that we try to do stuff at the committee of the whole where there is a two-way public comment, alderman discussion that can occur. I know it's not quite a public hearing, but I think it could be handled that way. And I hope you'll consider that. On the Connect Transit that was in a special meeting that most of the public doesn't even know anything about at this point, I attended a lot of meetings with Connect Transit when they did the advertising changes in their bylaws to allow the wrapped ads. It was much more deliberative and thought out than what I saw tonight, rushing to put a Band-Aid on the city code. I will be following up with that, since I am a business that does work in that arena as part of this commerce of this community. I have problems with the restrictions of it only being nonprofit and it only being for Connect Transit. I do believe case law will back me up on that, and I will take that up with legal counsel and with the zoning committee. I would also suggest that you might reconsider sending that to the beautification committee, and here's why. Because if you write that law, you're going to have to write in the city of Bloomington is also allowed to have the signs. If you decide to do something really positive and creative with the gateway, instead of having static signs in the gateway, that you have electronic LED or projection video, so they can change what's going on at the Coliseum or somewhere else in the community as somebody arrives to the community. I find the current language too controlling. You know, you also might want to send it to the Transportation Committee. There's a lot of discussion about distraction. The mobile video billboards are less detraction than anything else, including bicycles. $25,000 for every mile of painted lanes would go a lot further with that organization than painting our streets. I can remember the discussions the night that we gave them money, how people were so, we don't want to spend the money. Well, we say proof in the pudding, right? That money was well spent, and we need to spend more on that for our community.
Okay, you need to wrap up. Thank you. And then Barbara Finley Stewart.
Thank you for this opportunity. I would have said this last week if I'd known you didn't meet at 7. The Police Complaint Review Board is much needed. Filing a complaint can be intimidating for anyone, but the black community takes the greatest risk. Every effort should be made so people feel safe from police retaliation, which happens often enough that it does discourage complaints. I'm here to provide some information. In 1993, I founded the Minority Advocacy Council. One longtime member was an ex-offender, and he was very valuable in our work. In 1998, we did a survey of 580 minority and white citizens to compare their perceptions of local police treatment. The result was an almost perfect 97% difference between blacks and whites, closely matching a similar Gallup poll done about the same time. Our data were used later by a local attorney in winning a $30,000 racism suit against the Bloomington police. Since then, MAP was formed and 3 racially prejudiced officers left the force. Things improved, but more is needed. We ourselves in MyCap and MAC acted on our own recommendations by forming the Minority Complaints About Police Committee, and we called it MyCap, M-I-C-A-P. Black residents complained directly to us. In 4 years, we had 11 formal complaints, lots more than the current reports about surrounding review boards. We also worked with Bloomington on adopting their first written complaint policy. Looking at our experience with MyCap, here are 2 changes I hope you'll adopt for your board policy if you form one. I believe you will have much more participation if the complainant can, as an option, come to the board earlier, either before or shortly after filing. These whistleblowers will feel safer. And since many outstanding justice boards have benefited greatly from the insights provided by having an ex-offender as a member, a respected ex-offender should be required for this complainant board as well. Certainly not be denied.
No need to wrap up, Barbara.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we move to the consent agenda. The items on the agenda are routine in nature and are enacted in one motion. Are there any items anyone would like to poll, or is there a motion to approve?
Move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion made by Alderman Howman, seconded by Alderman Painter. And let's see if I can make this thing work. So far, so good. Yay. Okay. When you don't do this very often, it seems kind of magical. So the vote is 9-0. There are no nays to announce. Okay, now we move to our regular agenda, and our first item is the naming rights, changing the name to Grossinger Motors Arena. And are you presenting, David?
Yes, let me just start off here for a quick second. As all of you know, a very significant press conference was held at our local arena last Thursday afternoon. It was conducted by Lynn Cannon, the executive director there at the arena, and it was to celebrate and to also introduce the entity that through contract has purchased the naming rights for the building, and that is the name is the new Grossinger Motors Arena. We do have with us tonight, in addition to Jeff Juergens, we have Lynn Cannon and Terry Dietrich. I do want to point out that Terry is the one who for 8+ months has been as a VenueWorks official working on trying to get the naming right, so they did a tremendous job. And in fact, Jeff, if we could, let me just bring up Lynn for a few minutes. Lynn and Terry, just want them to give a few of the highlights of the naming rights event and that, and then we'll finish up by having Jeff come up and speak to the specific agreement, but any highlights you want to give. So
Thank you, David. Well, I'm the latecomer to the party. The VenueWorks company took over the Coliseum's business last year, and the naming rights of the building had already expired when VenueWorks came to be the management company at the Coliseum. So Terry Dietrich was brought in by VenueWorks, and he was given that directive to go out and seek the naming rights partner for us here in Bloomington, and he worked diligently and very long hours getting to this point now that we are at where we were able to announce on Thursday our naming rights partner being Grossinger Motors Arena. So we are very thrilled to have a local business being able to be this naming rights partner, a highly respected business in the state of Illinois, and we're happy to be here at this point.
Awesome. Anything else from Terry, who did all that negotiations?
I think Lynn said it all. Thank you for your patience. I know when we were here about 6 months ago talking about it, we were close and just didn't know how soon we'd be able to wrap that up. It does take time, and you have to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, and I think we're to that point now, and you have it in your hands, and we're ready to move forward with some positive things from here on out. So thank you.
John Seal, who was also here from Venue Works, mentioned that the naming rights, while we really hope and always wish they go quickly, he says sometimes they can take 12 to 18 months. So it is very much a long process. But thank you so much. If you'd kind of have a seat, we'll have Jeff come up. And Jeff, if you just kind of give a few of the highlights of this agreement, and then the council might have questions of either the Venue Works or you or I on this naming rights agreement.
Thank you, City Manager. Just real quick, all the highlights are really outlined in the council memo. As you already know, it's a 5-year agreement with the potential 5-year renewal. For the first 5 years, it's $175,000 per year, paid in 2 different installments. The subsequent 5-year renewal, we do have some renegotiating power. I think everybody's hope is to get the brand of the arena up. And so if it's worth more in that second 5 years, we would have the ability to negotiate a little bit more for those naming rights. Would be happy to answer any questions. I would note that there was a typo under the fee provision. January 1, 2017 should have been January 1, 2018. That has been corrected as provided in the handout. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions, or is there a motion? Alderman Hammond?
Mayor Pro Tem, I move that the naming rights agreement between the City of Bloomington, Venue Works of Bloomington LLC, and Grossinger Motors, Inc. be approved, and the city manager and clerk be authorized to execute the agreement.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second that, and I will make a note that Terry's wearing green today.
Very nice. Are there any other comments?
Get that.
All right. Let's see if I can make this magic machine start again. All right. And it passed 9-0 with no nays to announce. Thank you very much. That was great. All right. Now we move to the ordinance that approves the prevailing wages that are paid in the City of Bloomington. And Jeff, are you also up for this?
Thank you. Yes, I'll be very brief on this as well. This is a ordinance that's required to be passed every year by the end of June in accordance with the Prevailing Wage Act. The state, I believe because of its budget mess, has not actually set prevailing wages since July of 2015. So it's been almost a couple of years before we've been able to update this. We now have new numbers that are out there. And so this ordinance adopts and incorporates those numbers into the, to make it as the official prevailing wage for the City of Bloomington. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions, or again, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion we approve as presented.
All right, motion made by Alderman Black.
I'll second that motion.
Who was it? Which of you? Oh, I'm sorry. Looking the wrong way. Alderman Bray. All right. Any further questions? All right. I don't have a couple votes in yet from Mboka. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't register. And it passed 9-0 with no nays to announce. Thank you. And finally, we have a conversation about the continuum of care with Jennifer Toney. Good to see you.
Good evening, Council. I think most of you know me, but I see a few new faces since I was here the last time, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Jennifer Toney. I'm the grants coordinator for the Community Development Department. I manage our Community Development Block Grant Program, currently 2 grants that we have through the Illinois Housing Development Authority, and then I work with the local Continuum of Care to help manage that grant as well, and that's what we're going to talk about because you have a couple of agreements that we need to approve. First of all, I would like to apologize that you're getting the 4 different agreements at 3 different council meetings. HUD, unfortunately, some years we get all the agreements at once, and sometimes we don't, and this year we didn't, so we try to push them through as fast as we can instead of holding on to them so our agencies can get their money as fast as we can get it to them. So I wanted to apologize for that. It creates a little bit of confusion, I know, with all the different council memos. But the Continuum of Care is a program through the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department, and it's specifically designed to assist individuals and families that are currently experiencing homelessness. The ultimate goal of the COC program nationwide is to move those experiencing homelessness into transitional or permanent housing as quickly as possible, but then also provide supportive services to them to help stabilize them so that they can have long-term success in maintaining housing. The COC program funds are competitive in nature, which is a little bit different than the COC or the CDBG program. The funds are available to local not-for-profits, state and local governments, and public housing authorities in 5 different areas of support. And you can fund programs through permanent support or permanent housing, transitional housing, supportive services only, which is where the majority of our funding comes into that line item. The Homeless Management Information System, we also dedicate funding for that through our grants, and that's HUD's data tracking system so that we can keep track of all the numbers and are we moving the numbers in the right direction. And then homelessness prevention is the 5th area. The Continuum of Care for McLean County is a subset of the Central Illinois Continuum of Care, which is an 11-county continuum that ranges from down to Logan County through McLean and then actually all the way up to Kankakee. Locally, the city's role with the Continuum of Care is that we're primarily the fiscal agent for these grants. PATH does the day-to-day operations of the grants. They are the boots on the ground. And so if you want more information about the actual homelessness problem, really we need to get PATH up here because they're the ones that are dealing with it on a day-to-day basis and getting those numbers. So what we do, because the city does have the capacity to handle the funding, we're the fiscal agent. For this current year, we get about $330,000 through 4 different grants. The 4 different grants are Shelter Plus Care Grant, and those funds provide rental assistance at 5 units at Mayor's Manor, which is permanent supportive housing. We partner with Mid-Central Community Action and Bloomington Housing Authority to support those programs. We get a planning grant, which all of that money goes to PATH, so that it covers the COC coordinator's staff time essentially, and we get just a little under $42,000 a year for that. We have the McLean County Core Services Grant in the amount of $136,706 for the year. That provides a homeless outreach specialist at PATH and then job development and case managers at Salvation Army. And then the city does get a little bit of administrative funding to help cover part of my salary for that as well. The final grant, and that's the one that's coming next council meeting, so you'll see it on next agenda too, is the Families and Individuals with Disabilities. It's about $128,000. It provides for a position at PATH to provide housing and benefits services to homeless individuals. We provide child care at Crisis Nursery. It funds warehouse staff positions at Recycling Furniture for Families, and then also a counselor at Collaborative Solutions. Just to kind of give you an idea of where HUD is headed with this grant, they've established 7 system performance measures for each continuum, and so right now the continuum, which is about 25 agencies in town, are really looking at our numbers and really starting to drill down into where are we being effective and where do we need to work a little harder. We've just started that, but I was very pleased to say that I'm on the committee that's looking at this, and when we look at the number of first-time homelessness, our numbers are actually dropping in that area. So we're making some progress there. We're having a little bit of a harder time with people returning to homelessness, so that's going to be an area that we're really going to focus on. So in closing, I just want to say that the COC meetings are held monthly, every month except for the summer months because everybody's busy. And then they're open to anyone who's interested in serving or seeking to end homelessness in our community. Any questions?
Thank you very much for all your hard work on this. Do we have questions or a motion to approve these agreements?
I'll make a motion we approve as presented.
Okay,
I'll
Alderman
second.
Black made the motion. Alderman Malomboy, second. Any further follow-up? And again, it passes 9-0. Thank you very much. All right, we made it. Okay, City Manager Hales.
Thank you. I just wanted to make mention of a topic that came up today in on our administrative staff meeting, and that was Jim Karch, our Public Works Director, who's sitting in the back, mentioned the help and support of the police department in helping to monitor speed through a local construction zone. Anyone who's driven along Locust Street, kind of from downtown over to the high school, you'll see some excellent signage that has been put up indicating that in this local construction zone, the speed limit is 20 miles per hour. And so, again, a couple of points. One is sometimes I don't think the public and the motorists at large realize that even in these local construction zones, we do lower the speed limit. The police did give a lot of help, and unfortunately, just like out on the freeways, as we see even motorists locally in these residential streets can travel too fast for the conditions. We are always very concerned about the safety of our workers. I think there was even work going on Saturday to catch up, but something to just share publicly. And to anyone you know to please extend the request for our local driving public to please observe not only now but throughout the summer the speed limits, especially in these local construction zones. So it's something we'll continue to try and get that information out, but I thought there's some excellent signage work by our people. Other than that, I have nothing else to share with the council tonight.
Right.
So,
well, thank you very much for your help with this meeting. I appreciate that, and hopefully we'll all be at the 4th of July event, and I'm looking forward to Mayor Renner coming back. Any comments from Alderman? We are a quiet group tonight. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Howman, seconded by Alderman Bray. And this is a voice vote, right? Yay. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Am I sure I want to shut down? Yeah.